Welcome, everyone. This is the Doctor of Self-Worth and Dr. Raffi, who is the most amazing chiro I've ever seen. And we will continue the conversation from last time. Tell us about the connection between mind and posture, please.
Yeah, thank you so much again for having me on, Andre. It's always wonderful to talk to you. And what a topic today, especially for a chiropractor. This is a huge topic for us. What if I was to start by saying that your posture, anyone who's watching this right now, the posture that we have is like a steering wheel, and it steers us in a direction that will affect how we think up here, right? So if you think about it, it's basically saying the way we hold ourselves, the way we stand, the way we sit can actually influence what happens between our ears and how we think about things. And how does that change things? So if someone is watching this video on a phone, ideally, it's much better to bring the phone up, correct your posture, because the information that we're going to share now is definitely going to impact the mind.
Wow, this really resonates because I do help people to change their mind or change their states or emotional states specifically. And I tell them always a lot that one aspect of that is the physical, the body. And how did you see this in your practice? Are you teaching them to change something, or tell us what is that you can contribute to people when it comes to this topic?
Yeah, it is something that we see every single day. Anyone and everyone has a certain type of posture when they stand, when they walk, when they sit, to an extent, even the way they sleep. And so if we really look at what posture is, it is the way we hold ourselves in a given space. Whether, again, it's the way we hold ourselves when we sit, stand, walk, etc. And so I see it every day when people walk in. Sometimes you can actually tell how they are doing, how they're feeling based on their posture. So they can walk into a room and I can say the words, I can see today's been a little bit of a challenging day. And they'll say, how did you know? What did I say something? And I said, no, it's the way you're actually holding yourself. Because the way we actually hold ourselves is, I guess, in a way, a reflection of what's happening in our minds. And so as an example, I'll use children as an example. When you see a child who's slouching, they've got their backpack on their back, their shoulders are rolled forward, they've got their head forward, and you compare that to a child who was standing up nice and tall and had their chest puffed up, their chin was pulled back, their shoulders are in line with their ears, you could almost tell that there's a certain difference, potential difference in their confidence and the way they would answer a question and the way they generally feel. And the same thing happens with adults. When you look at an adult who has experience running a huge company and has lots of responsibilities and holds themselves really nice and tall in a conversation, they tend to receive a bit more respect than the adult who tends to slouch a little bit and drops their shoulders. So there is definitely a difference in how we feel depending on how we hold ourselves. And like you said, how do we see this and how does this all start? It all starts, in my opinion, how we notice ourselves. Do we actually notice that we're slouching? Do we notice that we have our head forward when we're looking at the phone or when we're using a laptop? Do we prop it up or do we have it on our laps? And if it's something that is not noticed, we actually don't realize that we're putting pressure on ourselves without actually putting pressure on ourselves. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. And I was thinking, what because you're researching this, you're obviously talking to client each day. Tell us some truth. What are they telling you, that they are doing things from habit? Are they sleeping the same way? Are they doing the same postures over and over again? What do you find?
Yeah, I find that they do. I mean, to an extent, we all do. We are all holding a posture based on what our brain thinks is normal. So the way I stand, the way I sit is mapped in my brain, and my brain perceives that as neutral, and it likes that position. Whether or not that position is good for me or bad for me, it actually finds it very comfortable. And so when it comes to talking to people about changing their posture, it needs to be something that's very mindful. You need to actually think about correcting yourself. So right now, I would have to actually catch myself, pull my shoulders back, pull my head back and say, all right, now that is better posture. So it is something that people are doing without realizing. It is a habit that they have. It's the way they sleep. Like you mentioned, they always sleep on that one side. They always sleep in that certain position, or when they sit, they always cross that same leg over to the other side, which will draw the pelvis in a certain position and will draw the shoulders forward. And this habit that seems to be developed over many, many years begins to map in the brain the perfect posture for the body. So I guess when you think of it, it's quite challenging to change someone's posture. And without going too far from what we wanted to talk about here as well, we need to work really, really hard actively to correct our posture. And with doing so, we will notice those mental changes. We will notice that when we sit up straight and we pull the ears back, we tend to think a little bit more clearly. Our digestion changes. Our breath rate changes. I mean, as an example, Andrew, you don't have to do it right now, but anyone watching this, if you were to slouch, like really, really slouch, drop your head forward and take a really deep breath in, and then compare that with correcting yourselves and then taking a really deep breath in, you will notice very, very quickly that our lung capacity changes quite a lot depending on how we stand or how we sit. And if we have a larger lung capacity, then that means there's more oxygen going to our brain and to our body. And that is with every single breath that we take in a day. So therefore, by the end of the day, someone who's got better posture is going to tend to think more clearly and feel more energized. Someone who is more of a sloucher will find that they're struggling by the end of the day. They probably need that second coffee or that third coffee.
This is life-changing as far as I understand, but I tend to talk a lot about the emotional dwelling place where people default back to. And then obviously those emotional states, whether it's hope or almost depression or being, sad or angry, is then prompting the body to create a certain posture, and then people have these states where they live most of their time, and that could create problems and a business for you, I have to say. Is that right?
Yeah, look, Andre, you and I would not be as busy as we are if everyone was to exercise good posture. And that's, look, that we want people to exercise good posture. We want them to be well. We want to elevate people's health as much as we can, whether it's mentally, physically, nutritionally. There's different ways of elevating health. But what you said is very true. And it reminds me of a study that I'd read. I can't quote it right now, but there's plenty of these kind of studies out there where people who found themselves in quite a depressed state, when they were examined with a placebo pill, an antidepressant, and a placebo with postural changes, there was a huge similarity between taking antidepressants and people with a placebo with postural changes. So what they found was that correcting posture, lifting the chin up, drawing the ears back, actually had people feeling much better about themselves, which is just amazing to think that naturally we can change our mindset by the way we hold ourselves.
Wow. And then the question comes, how much medication is, I guess, needed? By the way, if you're listening to us, we have the first person we're working together with. So we will share his journey and his breakthroughs around posture and emotional states or mental health. And as we said, if you are interested in an experience where you change multiple aspects of your health, and we're talking about mental and physical, put your hand up, comment, or send us a message. Is there anything else that you wanted to share, Dr. Raffi, before we finish today?
Yeah, Andre, actually, I would like to share one more thing, and that is to empower people to realize that they can work and change their posture. So they can work on their posture and they can change their posture. And it doesn't just need to be through exercises. They don't have to have a plan where they have to do a certain amount of exercise a day, but just to be a little bit more mindful of the way they hold themselves in front of technology and correct some of that can make a huge difference between now and the next 5 years, the next 10 years, and the health of their spine by the end of that time. So I don't want people to think that they've been destined to have this certain posture and that's the way their brain sees posture forever, but to feel empowered that you can do something about it. And you can definitely strengthen your posture, whether it's through exercise, whether it's through mindset work, whether it's through being more aware, whether it's treatments with a health practitioner. A chiropractor can help with that as well. But there is always a way of improving and elevating your posture.
Wonderful. Well, the next time, probably I will ask you some questions just to put it out there. How consciously one could change their posture when they go to sleep, and how that may affect the psychology, and then may affect the bones, and how or what kind of health challenges they are attracting. How does that sound?
I think it's a good topic. My juices are flowing already. I've got ideas.
That will be so good. Thanks very much, Dr. Raffi. Enjoy your day.
Thanks,
And we'll
Thank you very much.
hear from you again. See you later.
Sounds good.